Awesome, thank you.
Let me first start off by saying I have a little bit of a cough and cold, so I'm trying to keep it down and not cough into the mic this evening. So, good evening. The board now convenes this meeting of the Little Elm Board of Trustees in open session on Monday, March 16th, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. at Zellers Center for Learning Leadership. I am Delion English, President of Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees. On the board's behalf, I'd like to welcome all who are present and to our video viewers. Let me introduce my fellow trustees and staff. Seated to my right is Ms. Leanne Hardy. Vice President, unavailable right now, is Trustee Cooper Biggis. Also, Trustee Christopher Williams is unavailable, and Superintendent Dr. Lowell Strike. To my left is seated Trustee Alex Flores, our Secretary, Trustee Stephanie Gregg, and Trustee Melissa Meyer. The Superintendent's leadership team is also present. Deputy Superintendent Matthew Gutierrez, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Learning Services, Cindy Micka, Chief Financial Officer Grant Anderson, Director of Facilities and Construction, Rod Reeves, Director of Communication Services and Community Relations, Pat Robbins, Director of Technology, Integration and Media Services, Russell Van Hoos, Director of Accountability in State and Federal Programs, Ashley Glover. The trustees as a body corporate have the exclusive power and duty to govern and oversee the management of the public schools of the district. The board's responsibilities and duties is to assure the public that the district resources are being used effectively and efficiently. The board's role in management oversight shall be ensure that the integrity and performance of all major management systems, including but not limited to finance, human resources, technology, transportation, food services, custodial grounds, safety, security, construction management, and facility management. Leadership, management, and operational responsibilities are charged to the superintendent of schools. For the public, this is a working session meeting which allows for the board to discuss the business of the district. For the citizen input portion of our agenda, the board has made available public comment cards that are accepted before the regular meeting begins. Cards are not accepted after the meeting has started. All cards will be collected and given to the board secretary or representative who will be presented to the speaker during the time. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, one indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Texas flags. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I do it all the time.
Oh, yeah. At this time, introductions, roll call, please.
Dr. Lowell Strike.
Here.
Ms. Leanna Hardy.
Here.
Mr. Delion English.
Here.
Mr. Alejandro Flores.
Present.
Ms. Stephanie Gregg.
Here.
Ms. Melissa Myers.
Here.
And not present, Mr. Cooper Biggis and Mr. Christopher Williams.
Thank you. At this time, do we have any citizen input?
No, sir.
There's no citizen input. Oops. Item 5 on the agenda, approval of minutes. In your package, you should have the minutes from the last meeting.
I had no changes.
Any changes? Okay. Ms. Gregg, do you have any changes?
I had already emailed them, and I believe they've already been corrected.
Thank you. Ms. Flores? Mr. Myers? Okay. Dr. Strike, any changes? Okay. There are no changes to the minutes. Is there a motion to approve regular minute meeting of 2/16/2005?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any discussion further? If there are no further discussions, for verbal approval, please raise your hand or say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business, item 6, reports to superintendent, fourth quarter demographics report.
Dr. Strike, President English, members of the board, is here to give you a quick overview of our fourth quarter growth report. Templeton Demographics will be them to provide this report to you. I believe you have it. So we're just going to go through it pretty quick. If there are any specific questions, I'll try to answer those. So we take a look at the economic conditions within DFW. We're seeing is that right? Oh, we have to worry about it. Testing. Can you hear me? All right. So look at the economic conditions. The unemployment rate is down within Little Elm ISD. We're at 2.7%, which is fantastic. We look at the job growth. We continue to lead the nation within that. And also, we're looking at the home starts in the area increase. We take a look at Little Elm ISD compared to other districts. Notice we're 14th, a little smaller district, but if you look at our future lots over 6,000, that's almost up there with Frisco. So we have a lot of room to grow. We look at the new housing activity. You notice that we've seen a lot of starts have outpaced closings, and so that's because there's a lot of people wanting houses, and we see that they're selling pretty quickly. So you notice that the inventory level, which is the top line, has kind of decreased because people are buying houses. Now the starts have slowed just a little bit, but they're going to pick up just because they don't want to get like they did in 07. You know how they're just building, and all of a sudden, oh, they crash. So we're a little hesitant on that, but we're still seeing increased housing activity. We take a look at the annual closing distributions throughout the district. You know that we have Frisco Lakes, which we don't get a lot of kiddos from Frisco Lakes, but you notice the Tribute and also Sunset Point. We're seeing increased closings in those areas. Sunset Point is pretty much built out. We look at vacant and developed lots. These vacant developed lots means that it's vacant, but they're ready to build on. So they're pretty ready to go. So notice that we have the Tribute, Frisco Lakes, and Rivendell by the lake, which is in the Hackberry zone. So remember when we had the meeting at Hackberry, over on the right side, you saw that development? That's where that's at. Okay, future lots. We take a look at that. We see that Valencia on the lake is where we have a lot of future lots. We still have Wild Ridge, which will show you kind of a detailed area of that, which is over in Oak Point. And we have Frisco Lakes, of course, and Rivendell by the lake. So there's a lot of room to grow. We take a look at the overall housing data per elementary attendance zone. This is the yellow and green lines show where the most activity is occurring. So you take a look at it, Hackberry and STEM, you're seeing that those zones are growing. That's your fastest growing areas. And so you notice that Hackberry, we'll show you here in a little bit, that at some point that's going to reach functional capacity. So then what do? You have the one thing that I love to do is go do rezoning. You have to do that, or you do additions, things like that. Here's where we talk about Wild Ridge. This is over in Oak Point. So this is, believe it or not, district boundaries don't necessarily follow development boundaries or municipality boundaries. So you actually have neighbors that can go and say, hey, you know, Ms. Myers, you're my neighbor, but you're going to Denton ISD and I'm going to Little Elm. Now, if that district has open enrollment, you might lose that student. So that's some things we can talk about later. So notice that Oak Point, where we show you that slide, as this develops, there's going to be some capacity concerns at Oak Point. So we take a look at the enrollment history, also the student race, ethnicity totals, and then the economically disadvantaged totals are over there on the right. The main thing that this graph shows you, the top chart, is that yellow and green boxes represent those highest levels of activity. That means the highest number of students per grade level. So that's it, Little Elm did not have any growth whatsoever. just by these students matriculating through the system, we would have capacity concerns. Okay? So we have like a double whammy. We have double opportunities, a lot of opportunities. So we have a 10-year forecast. If we take a look at that again, it just shows that yellow and green boxes. You do see that 9th grade yellow and green. That's typically for those that may have to repeat their freshman years, so sometimes you see a high number there. But typically, you see those kindergarten, first grade. You see those as those move through. It's going to add increased class sizes. Okay, we take a look at the 10-year forecast for elementary grades. If you look at the yellow, okay, you got the orange, that's our current numbers. If you look at the yellow, it's kind of yellow, at some point, let's see, Oak Point, in about 2 or 3 years, they're going to reach functional capacity. Because we have the Wild Ridge development. And you see Hackberry is going to reach in about 5 years. So we still have time, but we are working with Dr. Strike on a facilities plan to use these numbers to try to come to you with some options. This is a 10-year forecast for secondary. You notice at our middle school, we have about 1,500 capacity there. Now, your philosophy, you may want to change on that in the future, depending upon the size of those types of schools. But right now, the middle school is 1,500 students, so we have room. The high school, we know we have capacity opportunities there, and especially in our core areas like the cafeteria, the athletic areas, the fine arts areas.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
I have a question. Just on the previous slide, you mentioned Oak Point. Does that include the daycare that we have there now, or would that be moving daycare back to this facility?
Well, these numbers, I believe, would not include the numbers for daycare. So let's say you take up, I'm not sure if they take up 1 or 2 classrooms. That would be about 22 to 1, so it'd be 44 students that, you know, you're missing. So that might have to be relocated or something like that.
Mr. Reeves, there's not a child care program at Oak Point.
Thank you. I'm glad she was here. You're awesome.
Some days.
So this is a great slide because it tells you that the appraised values, taxable values have increased. Now this is from 2013-14, so it's up 2.4 billion, which is 16.9%. In language, our taxable values have increased. So our Dr. Strike can help me, but that means our revenues in the state will increase. And so I believe this past year it has also been about 16-17%. So on our INS debt side, you know, we're at a 50-cent cap. This will help alleviate, if I'm not mistaken, our strike, some of that capacity to be able to sell bonds. This is a very interesting slide. It talks about what we call a yield factor per price point. So at the bottom, it talks about like $150,000 home or less. For every home there, I think it's 0.5. That means for every 2 homes, you get 1 student. And as you typically increase in price point for your home, your yield factor for students will go down. Except for if you look at, which I thought was interesting, this is just for me. I thought we look at over 500,000 actually went up a little bit, which I thought was interesting. So summary, economy's doing great. The housing market's doing fantastic. We've seen our net taxable values increase. We are looking at some concerns that, you know, like I said, at Hackberry and STEM Academy. And so I'll be answering any questions. Yeah. Quick.
I was looking at something, I left my notes at home. There, I was looking at the student starts, and it shows it at 5.1% growth for the year. But over 5 years, is that coming up to like,
Like 2 to 3%?
Yeah, I was looking at, we're actually growing faster than Frisco. I saw something where the numbers in Frisco and a few other districts, even though they've got larger starts, our percentage of starts is actually much higher. Is that, and that, I didn't see it on here.
That is true. It is. Now, they have a bigger number, so they might have a 1% growth, but they're seeing like 2,000 students with a 1% growth, whereas, you know, our 1%, we only see like 100. So you have to look at get a little deeper in the numbers. But we're growing pretty fast. So.
I saw that, and I honestly, I wish I brought my notes because I can't remember where it came from. I realized we had a huge growth, and we're actually growing faster than our communities.
Don't move it. All right, is that? Next item of business, the board will recess into closed meeting in the professional development room as permitted by the Texas Open Meeting Act, Code Subchapter 551074, 551072, and 551071 at 6:49. All right. Okay, 7:39, we'll reopen open session, the working session of the Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees. Next item on the agenda, discuss the personnel sheet.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Strike. I am going to present on behalf of Human Resources a couple of agenda items. The first one being personnel. On Monday, March 23rd, you'll be provided with an updated personnel sheet where the administration will be asking that the Board of Trustees approve the recommended individuals for employment with the district. You don't have that sheet with you because it is currently a work in progress. You'll have that updated hard copy on Monday at the next board meeting.
Discussion by the board. Moving on, item B, discuss administrative contract renewals.
As a board, you were provided with a memorandum that came from the Office of Human Resources, which lists the recommendations from the superintendent regarding administrative contracts that include coordinators, directors, assistant superintendent, and above. We are asking that the contracts for those administrators listed be extended for the 1 year or the 2 year term as indicated on the memorandum. Are there any questions regarding the administrative contracts?
First session for the board. Item C, discuss FTEs too.
We are asking for 2 additional FTEs to support the business services department. I believe the last time a position was added to business services was probably 10 years ago. And in that 10-year time period, our student population has doubled. About 10 years ago, we were about 3,400 students. We are about to hit 7,000, and the staffing in the business office has not changed. However, the workload for those individuals who work in the business services office continues to increase, where we have individuals working an average of 12 to 18 hours on a daily basis, working weekends to ensure that payroll is out on time, to ensure that we have good cash management. And so what we are asking for is for a payroll supervisor and an accountant for the business services office. This would allow for there to be a clear distinction of duties between all of the individuals in the business services office, and would ensure that we have efficient management, being that we oversee in excess of $60 million of taxpayers' money. And so we are asking for an accountant and a payroll supervisor.
How much is that going to cost us? Or is this is like in addition, correct, to what we've already budgeted?
This is in addition to what we've already budgeted, and we are in critical need of these two positions. Otherwise, we would wait until we ask for positions for the following school year. But we are in it is a very competitive market when you're looking for folks for business operations. And so the earlier we can begin looking and getting good candidates, the better for us. But again, we really need the support. And this is probably going to, I do not have that summary sheet with me, but this comes at a fiscal cost for two positions, an estimated $150,000.
What does an office look like right now in terms of staff?
Mr. Anderson, do you want to specifically
Sure, I can speak to that.
about your staffing?
Currently, there is one payroll clerical position and one benefits clerical position. There's one accountant and there is one accounts payable clerk. And one accounts payable clerk. And then we just fill a position that's our accountant purchasing. It's kind of a split kind of position. No, not the accountant or the purchasing accountant.
We have about 700 employees total in the district, roughly. So right now you're working with 4.
Yes, and I can speak further to this. Where I worked previously, we go into school districts, and over my years with Region 11, I've for 13 years been going into like 20, 35, 40 school districts and helping them in this type of situation. And I give credit to the previous administration, the people in the office. I was very understaffed, that my recommendation when I'm working is to better staff, and then also the controls and the checks and balances. There's not enough staff to even set those in place. And what that would look like is the same person was doing the transfers of money or also doing the bank rec. And so those need to be established. So I think this is a minimum cost.
Yeah, I'd say about 1 for 100 employees.
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, as our enrollment increases, our FTEs increase, and as stated earlier, the workload for some of these individuals has really been huge, and it, on a normal day, some of our administrators in the business office are lucky to get out of the building at 8 o'clock p.m. And so this would certainly help if we were to gain these two positions for business services.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Chairs. All right. Any further discussion by the board? Okay. Next one up, discuss superintendent's hiring authority, DC Bubble.
Yes, we are making a recommendation to update our local policy, DC policy, as it pertains to the superintendent's hiring authority. Historically, what we have done is ask for the superintendent to have hiring authority during the summer months when it is hiring season and it's very busy and we need to get people in, get people signed because we're competing with many other districts around us. And last year we did make a change where we extended it and had the superintendent have hiring authority up through September. However, we're finding that we're being presented with hardships when we're adding positions during the school year, or if we have a teacher that needs to leave and we need to fill the position behind them, we have to wait anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks before we can fill the position because we have to get board approval. So right now, if the final hiring authority should be granted to the superintendent, we will be able to hire immediately after a principal checks references and makes a recommendation, rather than having to wait 4 to 6 weeks because that means that our students go 4 to 6 weeks without a highly qualified, at times, teacher and are with a sub. Sometimes it's not the same sub every day. So what we are asking for is that our superintendent have hiring authority all year long except for assistant principals and higher. So the board would still approve hiring for coordinators, assistant principals, principals, and all positions higher than that. But we feel that it is really important for us to get our new teachers in to the classrooms quickly. It's really hard when our campus principals are short a teacher for that amount of time. We're already struggling with the economy improving. There is a smaller pool of subs, so it's really hard to have a consistent sub for 4 to 6 weeks. So what I am asking is that we approve updating the language and changing it to the board delegating the superintendent final authority to hire contractual personnel except for assistant principal or higher, who shall be hired by the board on the superintendent's recommendation. Are there any questions pertaining to DC local?
Whatever I do. Now my button's not working. Here we go. Would this, I guess if it was an addition that would create a budget, that would actually be a different request, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Okay, so never mind. That answered my own question.
I think one thing I might add to that, just because I've been in environments where the superintendent has that authority all year, I'll actually personally review every single application, every single resume, every single recommendation. Probably will frustrate HR to some degree, because I may be the one sending them back. If something isn't clear, as it is now, it pretty much processes straight through HR. And this way, I'll sign off on every single one of them. Since you're not raising your hand on them, I'll probably have more of a microscope on those types of positions. It's really, at the end of the day, it's a tighter process.
It really is. That will add another layer, because we do send you all of the names, and we're a growing district now. You're approving sometimes 20, 30 names in the summer. And this is going to allow Dr. Strike to really go through, review an application, review a resume, and ask questions of HR, our principal, or myself. And so there's going to be a higher level of accountability moving forward, should this be approved.
Discussion about it? Okay. Thank you. Next up, item E, discuss facility use fees, GKD local.
Yes, members of the board, we are asking that you review the recommended policy update for GKD local, community relations and non-school use of school facilities. What we are wanting to do is really work to build a strong working relationship with not just the town of Little Elm, but other municipalities that we serve. And so one of the things that we have been in conversation with as an administrative team is really reevaluating the fees that we are charging to certain entities. And so if you look at page 2 of 2 in GKD local, where under fees for use, you will see the language that we are asking to be approved, where interlocal agreements with cities, towns, and municipalities located within district boundaries be exempt from fees through board approval. So we will not just waive fees. We will not be able to pick and choose. Fees will only be waived for example, if we have an interlocal agreement like we have with the Colony. They use the Prescott STEM Academy. We have an interlocal agreement with the town of Little Elm. Then that allows the LASA group to use our facilities at no fee. And so if you look at it, we do lose, and it's indicated on there, close to $30,000, but we see it as a win-win because we are allowing our students to participate on their campuses in something that's positive before, after school, on the weekends, and it is also preparing our students to become future logos. So there are certainly a lot of advantages to working with those towns that we serve. That's just one example.
Mr. Gutierrez, I have a question. I'm glad to see this being brought to the board. My question is, I can see I see where it applies to athletics and organizations, you know, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, that type of stuff. Where does it apply for churches? I'm thinking of organizations that rent spaces or use our school systems right now.
Right.
Would this fall under this category as well?
It would not. This would only pertain to interlocal agreements that the board approves. So,
So we would have to pick and choose?
yeah, the board will approve an interlocal agreement like y'all approved the one with the Colony. And so because that is a board-approved interlocal agreement, then we can waive the fees with the town of the Colony.
Okay.
So the board is still technically approving because you approved the interlocal agreement, which will then indicate to us whether or not fees will be waived.
Okay. Thank you.
On this one, I didn't see anything for a review on the policy. I know if we're looking at it and having a vote on what's waived and what's not, it might not be necessary. But I would like something, I guess, just a review on, I guess, how much we're allowing to be waived with all the growth and everything. I don't know.
Just based on last year's numbers, it'd be about $27,000
Okay.
is the actual number that Rod was able to get.
So maybe 3 years with the 5-year growth that we've got, or?
It just, I think it's going to be dependent on how many interlocal agreements we have. And my guess is probably the town of Little Elm is probably the only one that would probably work the interlocals, and they're going to be very selective. I mean, they're not going to match up with like a church or something like that. So I think it's pretty much controlled by that. You know, depending on what the growth is, if you look at, you know, 1,300 students over the next 5 years, off that summary sheet, that third bullet from the bottom, we'd have to look at what the percent of kids participating is, what the average fee is. So I would think no more than $35,000.
So we're talking about
Yeah.
that. Okay.
I did want to interject that it's a two-way street because when we be waiving their fees, first of all, the town has never really charged us for any use of their facilities, so they've already kind of started the process. Plus, they would be waiving any future building fees, permit fees, things of that nature. So if you look at say the STEM Academy that we did in the Colony, it was in excess of $250,000 that the Colony waived for the use of that facility. So, and you know, about a demographer's report, we're going to be growing, so we're going to be there asking for fees. So it's to help all our constituents out, this whole budget thing. So I just want to interject that.
Well, no, I was meaning that we may need to do more over the years other than 30, so, okay. But yeah, if you think it's minimal,
Do we currently use other facilities, like the rec center and other?
Yes, we do. We do for various events. We just recently used the Rec Center for Administrative Retreat, so we do use the town's facilities.
Great. Thank you. All right, thanks very much. All right. Item F, discuss financial reports, January 2015. Mr. Grant Anderson.
Good evening, board. And, I think you've already seen the financials for January. And if you had any questions on them, we've got to review. It includes the budget amendments and then the other financial schedules for January.
Discussion by the board? Okay.
And then the second item is the tax
Tax
property
property.
resale.
Yeah.
Anything special?
Anything special with the tax property resale? Anything special? with
Anything.
that?
No, it's,
Just
it's
standard.
a small parcel.
Okay.
Since thanks. Item H, discuss request for qualification architectural services. Mr. Reeves.
Thank you, Board, Dr. Strike. We're here to present to you that we sent out a request for qualifications for architect and RFQ. Since of all the building, I think it's been several years since we've done this. It's good to do it every so often to get a different pool of applicants. And so we sent that out. We received them this past Monday. And with the administration, we reviewed those. And we'll be bringing 5 architectural firms to you as a pool of applicants that we can choose to do certain buildings that we do. So we had well over a dozen, I think, wasn't it, Brent? We had well over a dozen. Spent Monday reviewing those, so we'll present those to you for your approval.
So, how many, do you have an idea of how many you're planning on picking? I mean, typically we have 2 that we use.
We currently have 3 that we have. We're looking at expanding that to about 5. I think it's better to have more, not less, for us. It gives us flexibility to choose from. No telling what could happen. It just gives us flexibility, gives the board flexibility to choose. Plus, we have a facilities plan that we're going to be working on. Plus, we have our JLC work. We have our standards that we want to create. So I think there's some firms that we selected to help us in those specific areas.
Okay. Thank you.
And Rod, I might add, part of that, it was actually, I made the request of Rod to put the RFQ out there, just to give us more choice as we start getting into the facilities planning and some of the shops that are a little bigger that might be able to bring to the table more free help to help us as we plan and go forward. And Stantec, that was the architect at SHW at the time, has not been very responsive. So that was another reason for going out to find out. And they didn't even bother to put out of the 12 firms, they weren't even one of the 12 that just built a school here last year. So they've gone through SHW with Stantec buying them out, has undergone a change of philosophy in customer service. And I've heard that from several superintendents. So that was one of the reasons that we wanted to also go out and find somebody else besides what was there. And again, they didn't even bother to fill out the paperwork.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on, reports, President. First item of business summary reports, discussion A, board operating procedures. This is a great one to say thank you for providing me the information on the board operating procedures. She sent that information over, had the opportunity to look and read some information. I'm going through it a little bit more or less to find comb, look at it a little bit more. And what I'll do is I'll look at that. I want to bring that back to the board. What we may want to do, because there are some policy indications that we talked about, may set up a small committee for the board operating procedures. Look at that board operating procedures, match those against the policies, and then bring those back. When we bring it back, we will send over to the superintendent to have them take a look. Of course, our lawyers will go from there. So I anticipate next week I'll have that available for everyone for review. Any questions on the board operating procedures?
No single I undotted, correct?
No single I undotted.
All right.
Discussing the agenda for board retreat and teammate training. So as we go through the year, one of the things that came up was the goals. We just hired a new superintendent into place. So I sent over an email determining just some of the potential goals for the board for the year, basically just some of the framing. There was a discussion about when we want to hold our annual retreat, particularly the teammate retreat or the board retreat, discuss year goals. That was decided that we pushed out to potentially after the election. The question I have is this: if we want to look at the goals for the year, do we want to push the dates up? maybe into April, to have a board retreat or a TMA training, discuss what the yearly goals are, and discuss it then, or do we still want to wait till after the election cycle goes?
I personally want to push it up. I would like to get operating procedures done. I'd like to get moving forward on the goals sooner than later. I think we're going to be very busy with the mission statement, the strategies, all of that's going to be coming through the summer, and I'd rather get this ball rolling, in my opinion.
That's great.
I won't be here. I mean, I'll help out whoever I can, but, you know, whatever you guys want, or whoever I can help would be of assistance for my last month and a half.
Switch.
April works for me.
That works for you? Okay. April?
Yeah, I think we need to get it going.
That's right. What do you think?
That's fine, and I think that at this time, maybe meshing what we're already working on, as Ms. Myers mentioned, it may mesh together well, rather than too far apart.
Okay. So we're thinking of board retreat or TMA training? Most likely a board retreat.
And I think just a secondary note, while we have this great, it would be beneficial, I think, for us as well, just to have some new background and different experiences.
Yeah, and also one of the things I would really like to see is have the board operation procedures in place, so when the elections are completed, that document is already ready for those new members who are joining the board. We're going to have that set in stone, ready to go, to give them all the information they need when they join the board.
And on that note, same with the checklist. I
Yes.
think we talked about it. But
The checklist is part of the other
Right.
board operating procedures.
The checklist, I think, is beneficial to anybody that's new coming in. You know, I think I'll speak for myself, coming in as a new person to the board, it was very daunting.
Yes.
It would be great to have something that we can provide to any new people that get them up and running quicker.
And I'm not sure what you've done as far as past history within the district, but whomever the new board member is will get extensive information from all of our departments who will meet individually with them. We'll put a notebook together for them, and they'll actually face-to-face meet with each one of our leadership team people in their areas for a presentation as well as a Q&A.
Great. So for the public, this is an opportunity for the board to really kind of codify the procedures and the way we operate as a board. This is something new that we're putting in place. One of the things that's very helpful for new members coming onto the board, to be able to understand some of the procedures and processes that we currently have in place. What are some of the important aspects of education and training while you're on the board, and just a general understanding of the operation of the board. So it's going to be really good to codify that information. So really appreciate that. Thank you for all the hard work from the board from putting the information. For those of the community, we had a board retreat. We got together and discussed it, set up a small committee. All members of the board contributed to that board operating procedures, and now we're in kind of the final phases of putting a draft together. Once that draft goes together, we'll send it over for input from the superintendent, and then of course we'll make sure that's checked by the lawyers to make sure everything is good, and then from there, take an approval approach on that. All right. Discuss introduction and invocation to board meetings. There was a request by myself and Mr. Flores of invocations prior to the beginning of a board meeting. So we're going to have some discussion around that. So I'll open the floor for that discussion.
I personally would like to see it done. The town does it. Every district that I've watched online for other board meetings, they do it. And in fact, we're kind of the only one that I've seen that doesn't.
Flores.
Well, I made the request, so obviously.
Yeah. Well, I want to see if you had any further discussion with it.
I don't know, unless there's something that prevents us from doing that, I'd like to move forward with that request.
I agree. I think it would be a nice opportunity, whether we do it ourselves or maybe be an opportunity to kind of invite the local pastors, chaplains, priests, that kind of stuff. They could, you know, they could rotate and invite them from the community, or even the students. I think sometimes that's nice. I know some of the functions that we have for the different sporting events and not just sporting events, but academics and fine arts and stuff, a lot of times we'll have a student that'll lead the group with prayer. So it's common in the schools right now.
Right.
So that might be another consideration if a student wants to, if it's allowable, if the student wants to volunteer.
Okay.
I mean, we have FCA active in the high school, and I think at the junior high, it used to be, I don't know if it still is, but that might be another opportunity. Great idea.
Great. That's a really great idea. That's nice.
I really don't have anything against it as well. I think as long as it meets standards or whatever policies are set, I think
Okay. All right. Any, like strike? Okay. There are no further discussions on that. Move forward. Request for agenda items. Ms. Hardy, you have anything request for agenda items?
No.
Okay, you're good? All right. Ms. Flores, do you have any requests for agenda items?
I don't know if they're necessarily agenda items, maybe more of an update, Dr. Strike. So last year, I think we were unable to, for whatever reason, secure the graduation venue or typical Saturday graduation. So I wanted us to look into 2016 and make sure we're able to secure that site. That Saturday, so that I know it kind of caused a little bit of concern with some parents, or not concern, but and I'd like to see the survey results for the new website that went out by Ms. Jones a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Kind of interesting to see what the majority of the community had voted on. Be interesting to see what
I can provide that to you.
Those are final, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Super dynamic website,
Yes.
awesome graphics, calls your name out when you come to it.
Exactly. It'll be better than what we have.
Okay.
And it uploads quickly.
I think the biggest thing for me on a website would be clarity. Clear indication of where things are logically positioned, focused, those type of things. So, okay, sounds good. That's great.
I would, just to, Dr. Stark, I think you understood what he was, just for reference about the graduation thing. We typically have it at Prestonwood on a Saturday, and then that's where there's a miscommunication, or we waited too late, I think, for this year. So just point of reference. That's where we like it, or that's where I personally like it. So let me not say for we, I apologize. We've had it at various venues, but that's why this year we're having it on a Thursday instead of on a typical Saturday at 10 o'clock, I think is where we normally would have it.
Thank you.
If we can have I would like to have an update on the Let's Talk. I know at one point we had gotten a kind of a summary of these are the issues and or what people are saying.
So Dr.
Kind of a follow-up.
Yeah. So Dr. Strike, if you can provide us.
sorry, I
that's
should be addressing
the Let's
that.
Talk.
That's fine. We can do that. We've actually had conversations, so it's probably conversation in terms about the future of Let's Talk anyway. And so we were actually just talking to the leadership team this morning about doing a report on that as a board report in April about the direction we're wanting to go from a financial perspective. That's a $19,000 a year cost, and the ROI on that is very low at this point. And so we've talked about in-house what we can do that actually will be maybe a better product for our folks.
Okay.
So we'll be bringing it forward.
And if we can also maybe get an update, years past we've had problems with transcripts. I just kind of like an update, are they good, are they not good? I was talking to a parent yesterday of a graduating senior, and she made a comment that her daughter was trying to get into a program at Texas State, but she had a hard time getting, her transcript was late. Her transcript was late from the high school, and it was several weeks late from the high school, and so she missed the deadline for the tryout for the program at this university because she couldn't get the transcript from the high school. And this was a December, January, February
If you want, and we can certainly do that as far as an update on an individual, if you want to send undercover that person's name, I'll track that down. We did run into a couple incidences where they said they were late and we went and pulled the paper and the student had neglected to even put that college down. That's why they didn't receive one. So I'd be more than happy to have Ms. Pentecost do follow up on an individual just for your own reference. And then if we're in error, then obviously we can get that. That's something we got to get fixed. But I think that the last report that Cindy had is that things were going very smooth because Ms. Pentecost had actually taken it under her wing and she was actually signing off as a principal, which is not typical on every single one of them to ensure that they were correct.
Okay, I don't want to do the individual
Okay,
thing.
that's fine.
She has it.
But we'll get an update in terms of how many transcripts have been sent. Cindy can do that in April if that works for you.
Yeah, that's fine. I just would like.
And I knew it was that was the number one thing when I first got here is people were talking about the transcript issue, and I know they were in the midst of trying to get that rolling, and I know that Cindy's been working hard on that, and Ms. Pentecost, so hopefully it's okay. It doesn't mean there won't be a mess up, but we can't afford to have a mess up with a kid going to college.
Thank you.
Sorry?
I only have one, and it was regarding the survey for IT for 4th and 5th grade. Just wanted to see kind of where that was at. I know I talked to Mr. Matthews a couple times to understand if that survey is complete, what the details were on it. I think just as a note, there has been some discussion. My 5th graders came home and said, "Did you know we're not going to get Chromebooks anymore?" I said, "Okay, hold on."
we just had that discussion in the leadership team too, so that they're going to get Chromebooks, but
news travels fast in the 5th grade world. But
talk about the survey for the IT. That's probably something that you can actually do.
We still haven't reached a statistical sample size, so we're hoping to do one more push to try to get a statistically valid sample.
And as soon as we get that, then you can do a report on that. So maybe late the April meeting.
Sure.
Would that work?
Whether it's statistically valid or not, we'll report on the results.
perfect. Thank you.
Great.
And then as far as the graduation venue, we'll follow up on that. And the survey website results, we can get those, and I may be able to put those in the Friday update. And then the Let's Talk can be a discussion item as well as the transcript update and then the survey when we get that done. Work.
And then I'm sorry, I forgot. Something that has actually came up 2 years in a row with the MacBooks for our AP students, they tend to have a lot of summer assignments. And so because the laptops are taken away at the end of the year and they're not coming back until August, it's difficult for a lot of AP students to be able to do those summer assignments. And I wanted to find out if there's something we could do to, maybe for an AP student, and I don't know the logistics on that, I don't want to think about that, but just see if that's a possibility.
Yeah, to me, that makes sense to me, and Russell can work that out in his team. That's probably just one of those that nobody really thought of, and then all of a sudden, somebody mentioned it, like Ms. Harding. So yeah, we can take care of that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Anyone have anything from the board? All right. Dr. Stark, I did have a couple things. The very first thing, I had a chance to look at policy DDD local schedule of elections. That actually needs to be updated. It looks like the election for the position, the current update on that one is through Texas law. It was updated last in 2002. Date issue, but it wasn't updated, so the dates are all off. So the positions for 2003, 2006, 2009, so we just need to get an update for that.
Okay.
All right. The next thing was, wanted to discuss with the board, Oak Point Chavez. Oak Point Chavez run.
Yes, so the Oak Point Chavez is having a mad dash. It's the color new run. I think that's how you say it. And they've invited the board to throw color. Basically, when the runners line up, they get color shot at them. So they've invited the board to do that. They would like a sponsorship type fee, and we can sit at the booth and be at the start of the race. This is basically a fundraising event for both PTAs. So there's a bit of a competition between the two schools, which is interesting to see on Facebook. But they've asked the board if we would want to contribute and be at the race. It's April 26th, I believe. Sorry, the 25th. It's a Saturday. Yeah.
Can we do that? We can.
I'm sorry, I can't throw in the paint because I'm running.
Are you ready?
Oh, then I'm throwing paint.
I was going to say, that's a guarantee.
If Mr. Flores runs, I'm running.
Yeah, no, I'm not running, I'm throwing.
So we run together. Or at least you run faster than me, and I'll try to catch up behind you. Okay. All right. If there are no other things, any additional board comments? Yeah. Oh.
I have one board comment. I just wanted to say that I really like the layout of the board agenda items. It's so much nicer and cleaner to look at, and I can see exactly who's presenting and what's going on. So I really like that change. I know that you've already probably discussed changing the actual agenda itself to kind of go along with that. I would love to see, similar to, I think we started the Plano ISD, where they have their actual vision on top, and it's kind of a reminder to all of us, as well as the public, of what the vision is for the district. If we can put those two together, that would be great.
Sounds good. All right.
Mr. Grant, please thank your staff for working as hard as they do on
I
payroll.
will, and I have, and I will continue.
My background is in this field, so I sympathize with your team on the work that they're having to do with just minimal staff, so.
I appreciate that.
You know, I want to congratulate Strike, put together a great team. Sit across the board and see this team that we have here. It's just impressive. I'm very happy with the way things are going and how we're progressing. So it's so welcome. So great job, you guys. All right. With that said, is there a motion for adjournment? So moved. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Adjourned. 8:21.